Hi there, and welcome to this edition of Empowerment Hour. And yes, we are still a pre-record going out live at 11 a.m. on a Thursday morning. So welcome everyone. Thank you for continuing to listen to Empowerment Hour and for coming back to Calon FM as regularly as you do. Also, again, I want to thank my editor, Amy, who without Amy, these shows wouldn't actually get put out on air. So I'm so grateful to her for taking what I send to her and adding in the music and getting it out there for you all to hear. This morning, I have got my lovely, lovely friend who is doing not only one show, she's doing two. She's coming back next week as well. So who is that? Well, you've met her before and she's back with me today. So good morning, ClesiaMendes. How are you?
Hello, good morning, Denise. I am wonderful. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thanks for actually agreeing to do the recording. It's a little bit different to being live in the studio, isn't it?
It is, but we are adaptable and resilient and flexible. So I love learning new things. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for being here. So just for anyone who's, because of furloughing and everything else, having to stay at home in what I'm calling our sparkling isolation, because it can be amazing, can't it? It doesn't have to all be doom and gloom. Well, what was I going to say? I've forgotten, it's gone out of my head. Oh my word, my brain's gone. Anyway, that's what I was saying. So as an introduction for anyone who doesn't know you, because you used to have a radio show at Calon FM, you're well known at Calon. Just introduce yourself to everyone who is listening in today.
Okay, thank you. So my name is ClesiaMendes. I am originally from Portugal. As Denise mentioned, I used to have my own radio show on Calon FM, which was the Calon FM African music show. And that was a lot of fun. I did that for a few months. What I used to do, I've got a background in business. And right now, I've got a few projects on the go. And one of the projects that I'm really excited about is about my recent 6-month mentorship program that is for young professionals who need help to taking their career to the next level. So I kickstarted this project on the 22nd of April, and it's going great.
Cool. So you just said you're from Portugal, but when were you last home?
Well, let me think about that one. I've been to Portugal about 3 years ago. So
Oh,
the
it's a
weather was
long time
lovely.
ago. Have you not
Pardon?
been back since?
Well, I've been on a holiday. I only have too many days in the
Yeah,
year where I
true.
can travel. So yeah.
Yeah. So we've got this lockdown, partial lockdown. We're not in full lockdown here.
Mhm.
What's happening in Portugal where your family is? Whereabouts are they?
Okay, that's a really good question. My family is mostly based in Lisbon, that is Portugal's capital. And one of the interesting things is that we hear all these reports about Spain, and Spain has been hit badly by the virus, by COVID-19. But for whatever interesting reason, Portugal has dodged that bullet in a way, because we had a few cases, a few hundred cases, but as we are recording this show, but it has not been massive, which is really, really good. Now, loss of life is always sad, right? But I'm just saying, in contrast, has not been as bad as our neighbor Spain, and it has not been as bad as the UK. I don't have scientific reason for it. It just has not been as bad as.
So have they had to go into a lockdown like we're doing? Have they had any of that in Portugal?
Not as far as I know.
Oh, how interesting.
Hmm.
That is very different, isn't it? So some countries are really struggling and others not so much. Oh, I wonder what scientists are going to make of all of that. Because I was just knowing that you're from Portugal and knowing that in the news we knew about Italy and then Spain in particular.
Mm,
They're just coming out of their about 7-week lockdown, I think
mm,
they've had, and yet I've not heard anything about Portugal at all.
yes. I don't know. It could be because it's I really don't know. It could be because it's a smaller country, but has not been hit as hard for whatever reason. One of my teachers is based in the US, and he was asking me about that, and I told him, no, it has not been as bad in Portugal. And he was like, wow, what do you make of that? I said, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Do they not have as old a population because it seems to be affecting the elderly more? Do you know?
Hmm. We do have an elderly population in Portugal. What happens is that the elderly population tends to be outside the capital. So if you go to smaller villages that tend to be isolated in a way, you're gonna find older population that they basically they want to keep their farms or they live in their village. So outside the capitals, you're gonna find more elderly population. In the capital tends to be a younger generation for whatever reason. Maybe they travel many years ago to go to university, and then they find a good job and they settle there, and then towards the end, if they wish, they may go outside the capital because they want to settle and start their young families and where they get more space.
Yeah, yeah. So they're already living an isolation lifestyle because that's what they've always done.
Yeah,
Interesting,
in
isn't
a
it?
way. Funnily enough, maybe you can just explore that a little bit further. I was born and raised in Portugal, as I mentioned before, but I remember that when I was 4 or 5 years ago, when I was 4 or 5 years old, my parents rented a farm for a period, and we had plenty of space, trees, and animals. And one of my dreams actually was that when I reach a certain age, to leave the city and go back to the countryside. Right. So it turns out that I changed my plans and I moved to the UK, but that was my plan, right? You work so many years and then you just buy this beautiful villa outside and you're good. As long as you've got broadband, stable internet, what else do you need?
And you can live without that too. It has to be said. That can be done.
That can be done. That's true.
Will we ever have a revival of the African music on Calon FM? Is there any sign of that coming back at all?
Let me, truth is, I don't know. What I tend to do, I'm the sort of person that is more future oriented. And I always tend to look into further what is next. However, one of the things that I've noticed is that everything that I have done in the past has served me for future projects. What do I mean? When I started doing the Calon FM African Music Show, it was influence of a friend of mine. That was Peter. He was doing the show and he told me about it. So while I was doing the Calon FM African Music Show, I had the opportunity of diving into the world of African music because I knew a little bit my parents' country, but I really didn't have much exposure from other African music in the other African countries. So it was, in a way, it was a beautiful education. So I got to learn about other people, other cultures, other countries in the continent, languages that I never heard of, the rhythms. And it was like, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps just remembering. It was like,
Yeah.
I had so much fun. It was wonderful. And then I moved on to the next thing. And what I'm putting more energy into now is into public speaking and developing a young professional's skills and abilities. Share what I know, but in a way also drawing from inside of them what they already know, but they're not aware of yet. And how can they bring that to the workplace in a way that is more efficient, practical, and being bold enough to be innovative, right? Because when you are, usually this is my experience, when you are a young person in the workplace, you don't know how far you can push the envelope.
Yeah, true. I tell you what, let's take a break now and we'll come back. And there's a couple of things you've mentioned, but I'd like to come back and talk about something that you appear to be very excited about. And this is your 6-month mentorship program. So I'd like to know more about that. So if we take a break now and have some music, we'll be back after this. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour with myself, Denise Oliver, and my guest, ClesiaMendes. So a 6-month mentorship program. So go back to the beginning. How did you get involved in something like this? What sparked the excitement for you about this?
Yes. So first of all, where the idea came from, I was delivering a public speaking speech called the 33% rule. And in a 33% rule, in the essence of the speech is that it is advisable, it is a good idea to spend 33% of your time with people that know less than you, 33% of your time with people that know as much as you, like your peers, and 33% of your time with people that know more than you. right?
Oh, yeah.
And there is a win-win situation for all the positions. It gives you perspective. So I delivered that speech, and after I delivered that speech, I had really good positive feedback, and some people started asking me more questions about that. They really wanted to know. And one of the things that became very apparent that I had not realized until that event is that we've got many young professionals that they just get into their professional career recently. They got into the job market. They got out of uni. They got a job, or they've been in the marketplace. They've been working for a while now, but they are a little bit stumped in terms of what to do to progress their career, to take their career to the next level. And why is that? Let's imagine that they've got a very supportive manager that guides them in what to do next and what to progress in the company. But let's imagine that the young professional has bigger dreams than their manager,
Mm.
right? And they're saying, okay, this is a really nice entry job, but what I really want to do is this big other thing. There is no much place of openness and trust to share the entire vision with their manager.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in, because it's like, number one, I don't work for a specific company. I'm there in service of my mentee only. And the question is, how can I bring everything that I know and everything they already know, but they're not aware of, in service of where they want to go next? So in essence, that is what I do.
So you can do this with anyone, or are you looking at particular genres of workplace?
That is a really good question. So far, the people that seemed to be get attracted to my way of mentoring have been people that have a scientific background. That I also come from sciences, and someone that has a mathematical background, again, has a connection to science. So these are the sort of people that seem attracted to what I do and the way I deliver my work so far. But what I tend to do is that I am willing to no, I am open to working with people that really want to work with me, right? Because if we are a good fit, then there is a great ground to do great work together moving forward. But if he's not a good fit, then there is not a good fit. There is no harm done.
Okay, so how quickly do you know when it's a good fit or not? Is it within one session? How does it work?
Pretty much so. So, for instance, my most two recent mentees, what I did do, I was looking to my diary, and I've noticed that, oh, I've got space for one new person in my diary. And so I knew of a professional body of people that they would have potentially people that would be a good fit for what I offer. So I emailed the vice president of education and told them what I was proposing. And he said, I've got 3 wonderful candidates in mind. If you want to, I can talk with them for you. Or if you feel confident enough, you can contact them direct. And I said, okay, I would like to, with your permission, I'll contact them direct, and whoever gets back to me the quickest will be the best candidate, because obviously they are eager, right? So we went with the second option, where I contacted these 3 candidates that I had in mind, and within 19 minutes, I had my first reply back. I was impressed, because this person had heard me speak, and I was like, I don't know what you're offering, but I'm in. I was like, fantastic. Okay, let's schedule a Zoom call. So this is what we did. And we had the conversation, and I explained what I was offering. It would be a 6-month commitment, and we look into what they would like to get out of our let's say, agreement and everything else. We explore that. It went really well. So in a nutshell, it's like, yes, it's for starting from one session, but reality, it starts before the session. If the person is keen in working with me, we know that potentially they are a good fit, because they are open, and they are hungry, and they really want to make things happen. So we tend to get great results that way.
So talk about the 3 levels a bit more. What were they? What was the first one? In the 33% rule. So this,
Oh yes.
yeah,
So
say a bit
it's
more.
it's, an, it's a framework. So 33%, spend 33% of your time with people that know less than you.
Okay, so just say a little bit more about that. So who are those people?
People that know less than you could be people that have less experience than you in the workplace. Okay, could be people that know less than you because they might be new in the field. They might be an expert in a different field, but they are new in your field, in your field of your expertise. So that would be someone that knows less than you in that context. Could be because they're just younger, they are young, new, or just new in the field. So it's not age specific, has to do with the embody understanding. What do they know about the field, how to apply it to practice. So that would be the first level, the people that know less than you. And then 33% of the time spent with people that know as much as you, roughly your peer group. And just to give an example, let's imagine that you've got a new problem, a new challenge, and you get on a Zoom call with a colleague just to bounce ideas off each other. That does not mean that potentially you're going to be collaborating together in terms of the project, but you are bouncing ideas because everyone has a different perspective. And it's interesting, but I discovered that different people bring different aspects of you into the game. So it creates synergy. It's almost like there is a bigger mind, a bigger space that opens up for new ideas. So it's creating that synergy. So spend 33% of people that know as much as you in terms of your peers. And then spend 33% of your time with people that know more than you. And again, could be that know more than you because they've been in the planet longer, right? They are older, they have more, they've gone through more crises, more pandemics, more. So
Yeah.
they've water divorces, marriages, loss of children, birth of children experience. So someone that has more experience than you. Spend time with people that are older than you. Spend time with people that know more than you, in a sense. For instance, if they have written several books and you want to become a writer for the first time, it's a good idea to get in contact with someone that has written several books, because in the process of writing books, they've streamlined the process. And there is a Chinese proverb that says, a conversation with a wise person is worth 1,000 books.
Yeah. I love it. So if my maths is correct, that's 99%. What happens to the other 1%? What's that for?
Yes, the other 1% is time to spend to yourself, because in the end of the day, even though you're spending time with other people, when we choose, or when we decide to go forward and make something happen, that is an impulse that comes from within, right? So we can get all sorts of inputs and insights, but in reality, whoever makes things happen, it's you.
Cool. I love that. I mean, I've not heard that before. So I'm fascinated about all of that. We're going to take a break, and then I've got one question about that. And then I also want to move on to something else I know that you're passionate about as well. So I'll come back and ask the question, and then we'll move on to something else too. So we're going to take a break now. Hi there. Welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour with myself, Denise Oliver, and my guest today, ClesiaMendes. And one thing I haven't asked you is, do you have a business name?
Well, my business name is my name, so it's www.ClesiaMendes.com, because that is my brand.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Do you have a sort of a name that is not just you, but is your business as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's just ClesiaMendes.com. Not just is my name is my brand, and when I speak, that is what people get attracted to,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And so far, I was thinking maybe at later stage, when I look into scaling my business, I may start naming products differently. And what do I mean for that? Before I did the Calon FM African show, I created an online video. It is on YouTube, called How to Learn More Than 500 Portuguese Words in Less Than 5 Minutes. So for that specific, I was about to call it a course, that in a way it is a framework. So in that quick course, when I created the YouTube channel, I just called it 500 Portuguese Words, and I said it was presented by ClesiaMendes. So in a way, its own entity, its own finished product, and then I put it out there because I wanted to help people. And funnily enough, some people actually sent me an email say, oh, how do I learn more? which is great. So if I'm not too invested, I just create a product that is self-contained.
Yeah.
Right. So I can say that it has been created by, it has been written by, but is self-contained. Now, in terms of services, if it's coaching, mentoring, advice, that is under my name. So people just find ClesiaMendes.com. And they're going to find out that right now that diverts to my main LinkedIn profile. And why is that? Because mostly, number one, if someone wants to work one-on-one with me, they already met me in person, so they already have my business card and my direct email address. If it's someone that I never met before and they just want to find out some information about me, that is very easy because they can find my videos on YouTube. I've got an online course on the Wealth Dragons online that is called Transformation of Self. So they can find more about my teaching style there. They can do a search and find my radio shows on mixcloud.com. So if someone is just searching for information about me, they've got plenty of it. Okay. Free of charge available. If they want to get in contact with me, they can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. If it's a professional contact and they never met me before, then they can send me a private message on LinkedIn. Now, why is this important? Because if I'm getting a commercial conversation, like, so someone, number one, they get to see my background, if that is the sort of thing that they require. But number two, I also get to learn a little bit about them already, right? Yeah. Do they have a presence? Are they who they claim they are, right? So in a way, it works both ways as well.
Yeah, cool. And then one question about what you were talking about in the 33% is that middle section of colleagues coming together and collaborating. Do you find, this is something that I've discovered happens a lot, is that people can get quite competitive and not in a good way. And if you do, what do you do about that? How do you approach that situation? Because sometimes people get so competitive that they actually won't communicate and they won't talk about ideas and, what's the word I'm looking for? They won't unpick them because they're like, no, it's mine, I'm not sharing it with anyone, I'm going to get to the finish line first. What do you do in a situation like that?
Yes, that is a great question, and I'm so glad you brought it up. Yes, I do find that in terms of sometimes people get what I call competition, and what I'm more interested in is in co-opetition, right? Yeah. When there is healthy competition and there is also cooperation. So how do I navigate that? Number one is to acknowledge that innately people are, it's like if you like to create things in the world, you're going to have an edge of competition. That is natural. Embrace it. Instead of going, oh no, people shouldn't be forget about it. It is what it is. And competition is great for the customer, right? Because great companies, they become great at fantastic at customer service because they want to be better than everyone else. And they are always thinking, how can we serve our customer so well that no one else can even touch our heels? So it's great for the marketplace. Yeah. So when you think in terms of the bigger picture, that is great for the marketplace. And that's the reason why we get in business, is to create a quality product and a quality service. When you come from that point, right, and embrace and accept that people are competitive, then in order to create those synergies, you need to be aware of that you may lose something, but you also may gain something. What could be a good example? A good example, an obvious one, is relationship, right? The best, and I'm talking about romantic relationships right now, the best romantic relationships that I've been in, they were relationships of trust, where I felt that I could be myself totally, right? I could be passionate, dramatic, driven, and I knew that my partner would not be, what is the word? He would not be offended. And he wasn't expecting me to pretend to be smaller than I was in order to adjust to his ego. No, he just brought his best to the game as well. And then we flourished as people, right? So there is a bringing yourself totally now let's talk about business, because it is what you're asking for. Being yourself totally and bringing everything you've got to the game, it evolves a level of vulnerability, because you don't know how the other person, they may get your idea and run with it. And just hold on for a moment, because I spoke about this in a workshop I delivered when I was talking about from babbling to brilliant with public speaking. And get this, no one, I'll repeat this again, no one has exactly the same idea you do. It may seem like it, but no one will execute exactly like you do. Why? Because you are unique. When we take that in consideration and just rest on it for a moment, that no one can bring anything to the marketplace exactly like you do, because you like your own thumbprint.
Yeah.
You're unique, period. You don't need to justify that anymore. Just you are unique. Then you are free to bring the best you can. Be comfortable that some people may try to run with your idea. They might succeed or not, but just no one can do it exactly the same way you can. Does that bring anything new to the table, or what have you heard?
No, it's just, for me, I'm big on collaboration.
Mm.
I love it. And that whole thing of getting people around the table to discuss ideas, to where they're going to take theirs. And like you say, sometimes someone else goes, oh, that's what I was looking for as well. And they might take that and run with it, but they're not you. They're not going to do it like you. I once had a conversation with, how, well, you taught me access consciousness, access bars. You were one of my first tutors, so I'm so grateful to you, because it completely changed my life. And I got a few of us together from this area, because I had this big thing that I really wanted to bring this to this area. And none of the ladies I was with wanted to talk about where they were and how they were finding their clients, because, well, we might steal them. And it's just
Mm.
like, hang on a minute. Do you know what the population of this area is? Do you have any idea, if we were doing this alone, how much time it's going to take to actually get to everyone? It's going to take forever, longer time than I've got on this planet. Whereas if we come together and we collaborate, then we can bring this. I'm talking about access bars. You're talking about whatever it is you do at work. We can bring this to so many more people. And they were like, oh. And it was just like, yeah, so I'm not here to pinch anything off anyone. I'm here because actually I want to bring my energy to this situation and grow it.
Mhm.
And that's how I see it. So we're going to take another break, and then what I am going to come back and ask you about is your public speaking, which you've mentioned again. So let's have a break and we'll be back shortly. Okay, cool. So Clesia, we're really motoring through information here. I love it. There's so much going on. I've never heard the 33% thing before, so that really excites me. But something else I know that you are very much involved in is public speaking. Just tell us how that started for you, and then there's the possibility of some sort of book in the pipeline, I hear.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Big reveal.
Big reveal. Yes. So how have I started? I started many, many years ago in high school, when we had to deliver a presentation. It was myself and three colleagues. And as I said, I've got a background in science, because I was studying to become a doctor, because my mom wanted me to become a doctor. It turns out I discovered I don't like the sign of blood and opted out. But I still love science. So I was doing the presentation with two other colleagues. And strangely enough, we studied together, and in the day of delivering the presentation, my colleagues backed down. They didn't want to do it. And I just went ahead and delivered the presentation. And everyone said it was great at the end. Now, that was while I was still in Portugal, and it shocked me. The reason why it shocked me was because I had this perception of myself as being a shy, introvert person, which I'm still introvert. But the fact that people gave me that kind of feedback, in a way, kind of shook my self-image in that moment. So that was many, many years ago. So I progressed with my life. And then I moved to the UK with 1 year plan, just because I wanted to learn English, mainly because I love traveling the world. And one of my mentors told me, if you live in Europe, it's a good idea to learn English. I was like, okay. I put it as a nice project, 1 year project, and go for adventure. But life laughs at your plans. And within 6 weeks of being in UK, I've met this fine Englishman. We fell in love and we kept staying. So it was a wonderful relationship that ended, but we're still good friends. But so I started learning English, and one of the challenges that many foreign-born people have is that they don't feel confident enough speaking in public because they are self-conscious of grammatical errors they may make. Right, me too. Okay,
Me
so
too. And I
me
was
too.
born here.
You too.
Yeah, me too.
There you go. Another reason why I love you. And oh, am I all allowed to say I love you
Oh,
on the radio? It's
absolutely.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a rude talk. Okay. And 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 that was one of the things. So I like to set myself for a challenge. So I decided to improve my public speaking skills, and as a way of stretching myself, getting outside my comfort zone. So I thought I may as well get properly trained. So I enrolled with a business experiential business training company that used to come to London a couple of years ago. That was very expensive. Just to give you an idea, it was in the tunes of tens of thousands of pounds. So it was, that's what I mean. Expensive that way. You could buy a not top of the range car, but a really nice new car with that sort of money. So I did that as a foundation for my public speaking training. And then someone told me about an organization called Toastmasters. And I thought it's almost like going to the gym and doing reps. If you go to a boot camp once is good, but if you want to keep growing and maintaining your muscle, you need to do your reps regularly. So joined Toastmasters because I heard it was a public speaking club and it's very affordable. So I joined that just to deliver my regular public speaking opportunities. And that's how I discover. So from the very expensive training, I learned everything about stagecraft, how to engage your audience. So I learned a lot about the technical side of things. Very effective, but I didn't learn the crucial part, that is how to feel calm, cool, and collected, actually speaking with your audience. So that was the bit that was missing. And one of the errors that some foreign speakers do when we are speaking to an audience in English is that we tend to speak really, really fast. But until I joined Toastmasters, no one had given me that kind of feedback. I didn't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So that's how in a way, I know it's long-winded, how I started my public speaking journey, because I wanted to learn, I wanted to improve, I want to push the boundaries. And as I started doing that, I became really, really good. And people noticed that my stagecraft was different from the other Toastmasters stagecraft. They recognized quality from what I brought to the table. So people started seeking me out outside the meetings when they had really important public speaking opportunities coming up. For instance, one of my clients, she was called to participate in a BBC program, and she's really, really shy. She's a shy graphic artist, and she was terrified and was like, I need help. Can you help me? And I said, I don't know. Let's see. I could help her, and I did help her. So it went really, really well. So recently, I'm bringing that to wrap it up to your main question. So recently, I started taking a Master of Business Administration. And I was speaking with my teacher a few days ago about how I love public speaking, and it changes people's lives. People feel their voice is heard, and they start seeing new ways of expressing themselves they didn't know it existed before. And he said, Clesia, you need to become known as a thought leader. And I was like, oh, that sounds fancy. What do you recommend? And he was like, you need to write a book about public speaking. And I was like, okay, where do I start? So this is my new project. So now I'm in research mode for my book. So will be a book about public speaking. And if you ask me why you're doing, because my MBA teacher told me so. And I trust him a lot. He has written several books himself, and basically, and he started several companies, and he's very well-known man in the financial industry, financial world. He worked with great companies when he used to work before he started his own businesses. So I trust his opinion and his advice. And that in a way makes part of the aspect of spending 33% of the time with people that know more than you. Because my teacher and myself, we are about the same age. He's only a few years older than me, but professionally he has so much more experience that I trust what he has to offer and brings to the table.
Cool. We're actually running out of time on this show, and I know there's so much more that we want to talk about. Thank goodness you're coming back to talk again
Woohoo!
next week. Because I know there's something that you want to talk about, and that's a 3-day online event that you've been at, and exploring, what was it called? Exploration of genius and creativity.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm really looking forward to. So we can come back next week and we can start with that, or anything else that comes to you. So as you're talking about everything you're doing in your next project and the mentoring, and you're still doing your day job, albeit from home, and I know that you've been poorly, whether it was coronavirus or not, we don't know, and I'm just always blown away by your energy and your enthusiasm for everything that you do. So I thank you very much for being on Empowerment Hour today, and to all our listeners, thank you for listening in. And yeah, Clesia will be back with us next week. So just very quickly, how can someone get in touch with you?
Okay, so the easiest way is by going to www.ClesiaMendes.com. I'll spell that out for you. Is www.ClesiaMendes.com. So that is my website. Or if you prefer, you can find me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/ClesiaMendes, Clesia.Mendes.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to us talking again next week. You're amazing. I adore you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.